Hey, welcome to the Puck Portfolio. I'm your host, Andy MacNeil. I'm here weekdays to provide NHL projections, betting advice, and strategies to help you make informed bets throughout the NHL season. Monday's NHL schedule features 4 games, while Tuesday's schedule has 10 games on it. I'll be handicapping each of them on today's show. This show is all business. I tell you where I think the odds should be, whether I'm betting the game or not, and for how much, and then I move on. This show is sponsored by NorthStar Bet, which is now available Canada-wide. I'll be using NorthStar Bet's odds on the show. They offer early NHL odds on the next day's games and a whole lot more, so check them out via the link in the description below. If you enjoy the show, please like this video and subscribe to the Canada Sports Betting YouTube page. All right, it's time for a schedule breakdown. If you've been here before, you know the deal. I provide you with some information on how many days rest teams have across the league, a little bit more context with the load column that you see there, telling you whether a team is playing maybe 4 games in 6 nights, 3 games in 4, 2 games in 2, etc. I won't spend a whole lot of time because I factor this into my handicapping each day. So take a screenshot right now if you would like to check it out a little bit more later. Jeff Villette of CanadaSportsBetting.ca will have a schedule piece up probably today. It'll be a weekly thing that he will be doing on the website, breaking down the schedule using this breakdown right here that you see. So you'll want to check that out on CanadaSportsBetting.ca each and every week. But I won't spend a lot of time on this, like I said. But before I get into the projections, I do want to talk about my betting record. So here you see the team by team breakdown. You can see which teams like the Rangers have been my most profitable or the Kraken have been my least profitable. You can get a pretty good idea of how the season has gone for me. And I can show you a bit of the year to date here as well. So 34 wins, 26 losses, 7.7 units of profit. Pretty happy with that. 11.2% return on investment. Very happy with that as well. Not so happy with the closing line value and the closing line value frequency. The frequency telling me how often I'm beating the closing line. I feel I've been a bit unlucky here with some goaltending confirmations and things like that, but that's going to happen when you're betting early sometimes. And I think the benefits outweigh the harm here with taking this approach to betting NHL hockey. So there's my year to date. 34 wins, 26 losses. Pretty happy with how things have gone for sure. But let's get into the projections, shall we? I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on Monday's games because I don't have a whole lot of interest. Of course, we've got that big game between the Oilers and the Vancouver Canucks. A lot of pressure on Jay Woodcroft and the Oilers. A lot of talk about Woodcroft's job possibly being on the line. I don't think that should be the case. I mean, hockey, I know it's a results driven business, and the Oilers stink in that regard, but the puck lies sometimes. You know how they say in basketball, ball don't lie. Well, the puck does lie in hockey sometimes, and the Oilers, they're not very deserving of this poor start, but things are definitely not going well for this team. If anybody should be losing their job, it should be GM Ken Holland, but we'll save that for another time. We'll see what happens here with the Edmonton Oilers and the Vancouver Canucks. Big adjustment in the odds. I mean, you remember that the Oilers opened their season in Vancouver the second night of the season, October 11th. They were minus 159 on the money line. Now this game at a pick'em, minus 110 on each side, roughly across the market. So not a whole lot of interest there for me, and not a lot of interest in any of these games. Of course, Matt Duchene not skating right now with the Dallas Stars at practice. He's listed as day-to-day. That would be a big loss for the Dallas Stars. Currently minus 119 according to the projection model against the Boston Bruins. So if Duchene can't play, their price won't be minus 119. It'll be lower than that. I did not have time to make an adjustment because that news came out just before I was recording here today. So let's get into some bets that I do have, some games that I do have interest in. The Nashville Predators at the Calgary Flames. Look, Calgary gets one big win, and all of a sudden they should be carrying this kind of price into a game against UC Saros and the Nashville Predators. Nah, I don't think so. The Predators, they grade out as a top 5 offensive team, a top 10 defensive team through the lens of Evolving Hockey's expected goals model. Calgary lags behind the Predators in both areas, especially defense, where the Flames grade out as the 6th worst team in expected goals against, and only 5 teams have allowed more goals per 60 minutes. I'm betting 1.85 units on the Predators at plus 120 because the model has this game as a 50-50 split. Lots of value here, but shop around because you might find a plus 130 out there at some of the other Canadian sports books. Plus 120 at NorthStar Bet. That's what I'm locking in. 1.85 units on the Nashville Predators. Another game I've got interest in. This one's a little bit tricky, but if you are in Canada, you might be able to find some good numbers out here on the Avalanche. Although, look, it doesn't really matter or have anything to do with why I'm betting on the Avalanche here. I do love the fact that they're coming off a 7-0 shellacking at the hands of their arch nemesis, the Vegas Golden Knights, right? Why I'm betting the Avalanche, though, has everything to do with the price that I found, given that Jack Hughes and Nico Hischier are both out for New Jersey. I locked in a 1.5 unit bet on the Avalanche at minus 137, which is available at another Canadian sportsbook. I would not bet minus 167 on the Avalanche, which is the current odds available at NorthStar Bet. The projection model makes the Avalanche just a minus 155 favorite, so betting minus 167 would be a bad idea. Canada really is the wild, wild west for NHL odds, though. Tampa Bay at the Montreal Canadiens. Sure, the Habs, they had a poor showing in St. Louis on Saturday against the Blues, while the Lightning, they put a whooping on the Senators 6-4 on Saturday. But this line, I think, favors the Lightning far too much. Ideally, Jake Gallen gets the start here, but I'm betting 1 unit on the Montreal Canadiens at plus 160. I think this line should be closer to plus 140, or at least that's what the projection model has here. Buffalo Sabres at Carolina Hurricanes. Carolina's starting goaltender Frederik Andersen is dealing with an undisclosed medical issue. Veteran goaltender Yaroslav Halak has joined the team on a professional tryout basis. Dylan Cousins, Sabres forward, is day-to-day, and Matthias Ekholm, Sabres defenseman, is out. That'll be 2 big losses for Buffalo if Cousins is not able to play on Monday. I haven't had a chance to adjust things for this news regarding Frederik Andersen. Obviously, maybe a big adjustment is required there. The Minnesota Wild at the New York Islanders. I don't know if there are 2 teams that I dislike more right now than Minnesota and the Islanders. Nothing personal. I just don't feel like I'm able to get a feel for either team right now, and it's been very frustrating. So I'm kind of glossing over this one. Minus 116 according to the projection model in favor of the New York Islanders. Not much different than what we're seeing out there, given that the Wild are around plus 116. Last I looked, Adam Fox, he's expected to be out until November 29th for the Rangers. Philip Hedl expected to be out another week or so until November 12th. Barclay Goodrow also listed as day-to-day now. But the good thing is that Igor Shesterkin, starting goaltender, is rested for Tuesday's matchup for the Red Wings. Detroit, they played one of their best games of the season so far against Boston on the weekend. The Red Wings finished with 54.5% of the expected goals, 57.5% of the shot attempts. They won the game 5-4, handing the Bruins their first regulation loss of the season. I'd lean towards betting on the Red Wings here, if anything, but since the model has the game at minus 144 in favor of New York, there's no value betting on the Dead Wings at plus 143. There is some value on the Winnipeg Jets, though. Look, the Jets, they've been kind of unlucky offensively and defensively so far to start the season. The Blues, they're starting to find their offensive game after struggling out of the gate. Defense, though, has been unexpectedly good for St. Louis. The Blues rank 6th in goals against per 60 minutes in all situations, but they allow the 7th most shots per 60 minutes. So they don't look like defensive specialists by any means. And good goaltending from Jordan Binnington and Joel Hofer is a big reason why this team is having some success now. I'm betting the Jets at minus 118 at NorthStar Bet. Currently, the best price available in the market, because the model says the Jets should be minus 129 if Connor Hellebuck is between the pipes. The Seattle Kraken at the Arizona Coyotes next up. So I look, Karel Vejmelka, he was a fine goaltender when the prices were really big on Arizona. But now that the Coyotes have raised their game, the prices have been rising too. Vejmelka's play is leaving a lot to be desired. Backup Connor Ingram, he doesn't inspire much confidence either. So Coyotes, they might be in a tough spot going forward. That said, they're not getting much production at 5-on-5 from their top line, Clayton Keller, etc., which isn't going to last. Those are great players. I'm risking 0.5 units on the Coyotes at plus 106 at NorthStar Bet, which is the best price available right now. Pittsburgh at Anaheim, second meeting of the season for these two teams. If you remember, the Penguins got kind of blown out by the Ducks the last time around. Anaheim, they have won 6 in a row, but they still don't look real to me, though. So I don't have a whole lot of interest in here in this game right now, given where the odds are at sports books. The Philadelphia Flyers at the San Jose Sharks. NHL bettors, you were all wondering when and how sportsbooks were going to adjust for this historically bad San Jose Sharks team. They've allowed 10 goals in back-to-back games, losing 10-1 to the Canucks and 10-2 to the Penguins to end the week. Well, let's use regular season point totals from before the season started 27 days ago to put things into perspective. San Jose, they had a regular season point total of 67.5 points. The Canucks, they had a regular season point total of 90.5 points, and they closed at minus 229 on the money line on Thursday in San Jose. They won 10-1 as mentioned. Pittsburgh had a regular season points total of 96.5 points, so 5 points higher than the Canucks, and they closed 20 cents higher on the money line in their matchup against the Sharks on Saturday, minus 259. Now, we've got the Flyers here. They had a 75.5 regular season point total, and some sports books has them as high as minus 250. NorthStar Bet has them at minus 208 on the money line, but still a big adjustment either way. I don't think there's some value here regardless. The model has the Flyers at minus 206, so nothing really of interest there. And that pretty much does it for Monday's episode of the Puck Portfolio. I am going to recap my bets very quickly here. The Montreal Canadiens plus 160, 1 unit to win 1.6 unit. The Winnipeg Jets minus 118, that is a 1 unit bet. The Nashville Predators plus 120, that is 1.85 unit bet. The Colorado Avalanche at minus 137, that's a 1.45 unit bet. And finally, the Arizona Coyotes at plus 106. That's a 0.5 unit bet. 5 bets on the money line for Tuesday. Nothing for Monday right now, but I will let you know on Twitter at Digital Gambler if I do end up on any of Monday's games. Thank you for joining me. I will see you on Tuesday.